And global health organizations working in Gaza are calling for an immediate ceasefire over the dire humanitarian situation there. Doctors Without Borders says it's seeing a complete collapse in the healthcare system and has been forced to stop providing support to clinics due to Israel's evacuation orders. This is Israeli forces say they're going after Hamas leadership in Gaza's south and are close to full control of the north. Foreign correspondent James Longman joins me now from Tel Aviv, Israel, for more on this. James, Israeli Defense Forces say at least 104 soldiers have been killed since the fighting started. What does that say about how the war is going, and what's the latest on the fighting in Gaza?
Well, Dan, I think the Israelis are finding this incredibly tough. Israel has said that they're close to securing northern Gaza, but we were down by the border today, and it did not feel like that was the case. We've been day after day and we've heard explosions. A lot of those are controlled explosions. It seems that the Israelis are demolishing building after building, neighborhood after neighborhood, basically flattening the area, trying to go after Hamas. But we heard a lot of small arms fire as well. They are in close combat with Hamas fighters there. And I spoke to an IDF soldier last week. He had just done a tour of duty inside Gaza, and he spoke to me about how difficult it is for them. They're in a position, IDF soldiers, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, a Hamas fighter, only needs to be one or two, will come out of a tunnel, fire an RPG, a rocket-propelled grenade, towards their position, and then disappear back down inside a tunnel. And that is the reality of fighting inside Gaza. And we saw that today, how difficult it is for them to secure the north, because we were on our way down there when rockets were fired out of Gaza, and not just one or two. This was a serious barrage that was intercepted by the Iron Dome over Tel Aviv. So the fact that after all these weeks of fighting, Hamas is still able to fire rockets out of Gaza goes to show that they're still able to build a defense against the IDF. That's in the north. And in the south, the IDF says that they're on the hunt for Hamas leadership. Khan Yunis, the biggest city in the south, that's the focus of their operations there. But as difficult as it is for them in the north, it's perhaps doubly difficult in the south because so many people, civilians who were living north, went south to flee. So the IDF has to negotiate that complication as well, trying to keep civilians safe. But of course, 18,000 or more now civilians have died, according to the Hamas Health Ministry. Diane?
Wow. James, the World Health Organization also says that it can't wait any longer for a sustained ceasefire. It says the healthcare system is collapsing and a humanitarian response is critical. How dire is the situation there now?
Well, we've been saying for weeks, haven't we, that every day it just gets worse and worse for people. And I think it's precisely that. It's the days passing that there is no aid of any substance really getting in. A few trucks get in every day, but it's not enough. You're talking about more than 2 million people who've now been displaced. 85% of all people who live in Gaza are now no longer living in their homes. And most of the buildings have been demolished as well. I spoke to a man on the phone in Gaza today, and he's living with his family. There's 17 of them living in a makeshift shelter in the street. He's got a tarpaulin, a bit of nylon, which has been stretched across 2 bits of wood, a bit of agricultural equipment to keep his family at least dry. But he said all he's eating is cheese 3 times a day. That's all he has to eat. Diane?
Now, James, during a panel at the Doha Forum today, the Qatari Prime Minister reinforced the message that he and his country are committed to getting hostages released and ending this war. So where do these hostage negotiations stand?
It's so difficult to know really where the hostage negotiations stand, Diane. I mean, the Qataris have been quite critical now of the Israelis, particularly for going after the hostages in this rescue operation. We know that failed a few nights ago. IDF sustained some injuries, but they did not manage to get any hostages out. So diplomacy is a funny thing. It goes quiet, it feels like it's stalled, and then nothing happens until finally it does. And everyone is hoping that there are these conversations going on behind the scenes to see if hostages can come out. Remember, 137 remain in Hamas captivity. Everyone in this country very, very keen for them to come home as soon as possible. And that is exactly what's been happening. The pressure that these families, this hostage families forum has been putting on the government has worked the last time round. It worked for that ceasefire that brought so many of them home. They're hoping it's going to work again, but there's no sign of it, no obvious sign of it right now. Diane?
All right, James Longman in Tel Aviv. Stay safe, James. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.